The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
6-year-old Natalie Garcia vanished from her adoptive home, but grief and suspicion hid in silence for years. In September of 2024, law enforcement unearthed her remains buried in a plastic bag under weeds in the family's backyard. Investigators say Natalie likely died in November of 2020, suffocated after being locked in a small box for punishment. Her adoptive mother, Christina Schroer, pleaded no contest to second-degree murder, child abuse, and related charges, and was sentenced to roughly 18 years in prison. Today, Natalie's adoptive father was in court, and everyone is questioning whether or not justice was served. Meanwhile, a college freshman named Trinity Poague is accused of murdering an 18-month-old boy in her dorm room. The little boy's name, J.D., and he was not her child, but was the son of her boyfriend, Jay Williams, who was out picking up a pizza when prosecutors say Trinity committed the crime. Tonight, we take a look at the testimony of the boyfriend, who the defense says is the one really responsible for the death of J.D. Who will the jury believe? But first, 22-year-old Rebecca Park was nearly full term in her pregnancy when she vanished on November 3rd after visiting family. Weeks later, searchers found her body in a remote Michigan forest. Prosecutors say her own mother and stepfather lured her into the woods, stabbed her, tortured her, then cut the unborn baby from her womb, killing both mother and child. The horror of the crime stunned the community. As the hunt continues for the baby's remains, a family's hopes have been replaced by grief and a demand for justice louder than ever. Tonight, the latest in this gruesome, shocking case. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And I'm going to let you know at the top of the show, this is going to be a difficult hour. This is going to be a heavy hour because we are dealing with depravity tonight. Adults who are not doing what they are supposed to do, which is what I say at the end of this program every night, night after night. Hug the kids, take care of the kids, protect the children. That's our job as adults. That didn't happen. And these stories are incredibly tragic, but there is a sense that justice needs to be found here. Let's start on another note here. When you're a grandparent, grandchildren are the prize, okay? You have children, you raise children. You know, I know, it's not always easy. It's rewarding, but it is work. It is hard. You worry. You stay up late. You get up early. You run to practice with them. You're worried about their grades. You hope they're not being bullied. All of those things. And then they grow up, and they become adults. And you're like, okay, that's good. Now what? The grandchildren. That's the prize for the grandparents, because you get to enjoy those children with a little bit less of the heavy lifting that you did as a parent, and your children then take care of that, right? That's the way it should be. They're the prize. At the end of all this is the prize for us. And when I say that, like, for grandparents, even George and Cindy Anthony, you could say what you want about them. Kaylee Marie was their prize. Their daughter, yeah, she got pregnant. They never knew who the father was, all of that. Their daughter was a horrible person, but the prize was Kaylee Marie Anthony. They loved that girl. They loved her so much that Cindy wanted to raise her and wanted Casey just kind of out of the picture because she was not being a responsible parent. That's another story for another time. But the point of it is that grandparents, we love our grandchildren. Okay. Let's talk about Rebecca Park. She was full term, getting ready to bring life into the world. An amazing time, an amazing moment for anyone. Whatever your situation is, like you're getting ready to give birth, the miracle of life, then you're going to have this bundle of joy. It's going to be work, I get it, but it's a bundle of joy. Like, these are some of the best memories you'll have until you're a grandparent, right? Now let's talk about Cortney Bartholomew, her biological mother. She's accused of carving out her own grandchild out of her daughter's stomach. What? This story is beyond. Like, someone, you're this close to being a grandma, and you're gonna carve that baby out of your daughter's stomach? What is going on here? All right, let's get to some more facts here. Rebecca Park, what do we know about her? 38 weeks pregnant, last seen November 3rd. Her remains were discovered November 25th in the Manistee National Forest, but the baby that she was carrying was not located with her body. Cortney Bartholomew, who is she? That's Rebecca Park's biological mother, but Rebecca was apparently raised by a couple who adopted her and her siblings. Then you have Brady Bartholomew. Who's he? That's Cortney's husband, the stepfather, the biological father of Rebecca Park, the victim here. What are the charges against these two? First-degree murder, felony murder, torture, conspiracy to commit torture, assault of a pregnant individual, conspiracy to commit assault, unlawful imprisonment, removing a body without medical examiner permission. Now, prosecutors say that these two brought Rebecca to their home, forced her into another vehicle, took her into the woods where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut that beautiful baby out. And investigators are saying, prosecutors are saying, that both she and the baby died. But again, I don't believe they've found the baby yet. Now, there's two other people in all of this. Kimberly Park is Rebecca's sister, also arrested, charged with tampering with evidence, lying to a peace officer, and false report of a felony. And you've got another man, Richard Fleur. Who's he? This is Rebecca Park's fiancé. He was arrested but charged with 2 counts of delivering methamphetamine. Okay, so not charged for what happened to his fiancée. Let's get some more details here. I'm bringing in anchor and reporter for 9 and 10 News in Cadillac, Michigan. Jody Meason is with us. Jody, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. I know you guys have been all over this story, digging up all the details here. What do we know about the status of the baby? Has the baby's body ever been found? And if not, why do they believe that the baby is not alive?
Well, that's the question, and that's been captivating everybody here in the Cadillac area, is that baby has not been found yet. And they also don't know a motive for the crime as of yet. But what I've been, from the preliminary, from what they said during court, it seems like during the arraignment yesterday, they were saying based on the severity of the injuries, they believe that the baby would have died from the attack to Becca Park and the injuries that she sustained. They don't believe that baby would be alive. So they're still trying to figure out where that baby is. And as of right now, we don't know. So they are still looking for that baby. I know that the Sheriff's Department has been out actively investigating this. One thing that I did want to clarify
Sure.
Is the biological mother. She has not been in Becca Park's life up until she was about 18. She was adopted by, you had mentioned earlier, another family from the age of 1. And in fact, it was not only Becca, but it was Kimberly and an older brother that were adopted all at the same time. And I did speak to the mom that adopted them, and she says that she tried her best to keep them separate from this family because they were dangerous. And when Becca turned 18, she took it upon herself to go out and seek this family, and it's been a back and forth ever since.
That's such a tragic part of this story, Jody. You know, you have this adoptive family, raises them, but like everyone, I guess not everyone, but most people who get adopted, you always see these stories on television. Oh, I just want to reunite with my biological family, and I guess that happened here, and it's been incredibly tragic and fatal at this point. When we talk about motive, you said they haven't mentioned a motive. So nothing in court about why. Was there bad blood? Was there any sort of strange family dynamics going on?
You know, it's really hard to determine. I've talked to a lot of the people in this case. I've talked to Richard, I've talked to Kimberly, and I've talked to Courtney. The only one I haven't talked to is Bradley. And they've all the stories were kind of very different. Like I remember, you know, after I talked to Richard and I was talking to Kimberly and Courtney, I felt like the stories just didn't coincide. There was just a lot of just weirdness surrounding it. Just different things from the descriptions that they were wearing, of the clothing, the time of night that they left, and just questions like somebody pulls up into your driveway and takes your biological daughter and you've never seen this car before, and that's kind of weird, right? Usually you know who your daughter's friends are, or if they've been in contact recently. She had said that they had talked a lot in recent days. In fact, she was over there. Becca was over there because they were planning a baby shower that was supposed to happen the following weekend, according to Courtney. But it's really hard because there's been a lot of misinformation given out, some of it from Courtney herself. And so I think that's where investigators really have to really dig deep and find out what is the truth here, because there has been a lot of discrepancies with the stories.
Right, because this all began as a missing persons, right? And there's the investigation, and it wasn't until they found the body and now the arrests have taken place. Jody, I wanted to play something for you that we found on Courtney's Facebook page. It was this recording. An unknown speaker is talking and providing, it seems like, some sort of an alibi for Courtney. Let's take a listen to it.
She gave me my meds at about 8:40. I don't remember a lot, as I just said, but she was there when I went to bed, and she was also there when I woke up the next day. I know that she never goes out and about when I'm sleeping, just because she doesn't like to drive at night.
Do we know any more of the details or background on who is speaking in this alleged alibi?
I know there is, Courtney does have a son that lives at the house. You know, just based off of, you know, what I heard, if it was somebody that was living at the home, I would assume maybe perhaps that it was him, but, you know, I can't confirm that. To me, that just makes sense.
Sure. And finally, Jody, how about the community there? I did see some images from inside the courtroom. Can you describe the impact of this story and this case at this point on this community?
It was emotional in court yesterday when all the details came out. I mean, we've been wanting to know for, you know, close to a month now what happened. And that was the first time that the Sheriff's Department has really opened up about some of the details of the case. And there was a lot of crying in the courtroom. Obviously, the details were horrific. The prosecutor said that it was evil personified because of just what they're accused of doing. So, and I think, you know, to be fair, I think the Sheriff's Department, because it was a case that drew a lot of attention here in the area. I mean, we had people searching from over an hour away. People all over the state even have been invested in this story. I'm up here in northern Michigan, but I've been contacted by, you know, family members from downstate that even wanted to know what was going on because they knew I was reporting on it. But the Sheriff's Department, they've been really tight-lipped, and I think they are just trying to gather that evidence, and they want to make sure that whoever did this, you know, faces the consequences, and there's no chance of them getting out of this. So I think that's why they're being so tight-lipped. But it really kind of created this situation here where people wanted more information. They were really wanting to know what was happening, and there wasn't a lot of information. There was a lot of misinformation that was going on. And so I think, you know, there was just this sense of sadness when we all found out what had happened and that it was at the hands of somebody that supposedly loved her. I got to tell you, as a reporter, I went to that Courtney's house and I talked to her, and, you know, to have somebody tell you a week after, of course, she hasn't been convicted, but a week after she's accused of killing her daughter, and the way that she was talking to me, and you know, she was just giving other things like maybe she ran away, maybe she's trying to get away from Richard. She has 2 older kids that are placed with her adopted mom, that her adopted mom is taking care of right now, and you know, they were saying, well, maybe she didn't want to get her 3rd child taken from her. So it just felt like she had a lot of reasons for why she might have left. She said that she was concerned, but it was just a very weird kind of interaction.
Jody Meeson, 9 and 10 News in Cadillac, Michigan. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll speak more as this case progresses. We appreciate it. All right, let's bring in our think tank. Joining me live in studio tonight, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy, along with criminal defense attorney, law professor Meg Strickler, and the man behind the glasses, criminal defense attorney Josh Schiffer. Wow. Wow. What's going on here?
Meth.
Meth.
One word, meth.
But what's...
It fried their brains, made them not think right, and then do some really crazy things, mix with mental illness, and then maybe money.
Where meth is involved, logic and empathy is not. And that's the real issue. Once meth is involved, nothing makes sense. And things being... children being cut out of places, people dying, it happens when meth is involved. And that's just what it is.
But the one thing I will say about that, though, is that it's not just like they're doing it in some place. Like, there's like they're taking her, driving her out to the woods. Like, this is an involved plot.
It makes me actually hope that this infant has been trafficked away, and I'm hoping that the baby has survived and has been sold to either a meth head or some crazy trafficker, because then at least the baby's alive. And I have no clue what drives someone to cut a pregnant woman's stomach open and remove a baby. The moment you get there, we've left reality and reasonableness and are solely existing in mental health and drug-addled insanity. And the craziness, that screams meth. Meth makes you do things that are otherwise just illogically horrifying.
It fries your brain, literally. And I'm not trying to be a drug ad here. It's just we all 3 have had clients. Yeah, we've seen it. Yep.
So the other part of this story that I think is so tragic that we learned from Jody was this, you know, reuniting with your biological family. Like, I am hooked on those videos. I'm in the algorithm, and I watch them over and over, these happy reunions, the tears, the joy, and then the, you know, melding of the families, and, oh, we're catching up. Yeah. This is bad.
But it's unfortunate it happens often. You have a lot of children who have these, you know, souped up, hyped up Disney-type ideas of what their family is supposed to be. And once they, and especially with the growing of 23andMe and things of that nature, that has been putting people together in situations that they shouldn't be in. But there's nothing that you can tell a child that will prevent them from wanting.
Right. You can understand it. You feel so bad for her. All right, Think Tank is staying with us. When we come back, we've got the story, big trial here on Court TV out of Georgia, a beauty queen charged with the murder of her boyfriend's child in the dormitory. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, a young woman's life ends in a Santa Fe home. A sword soaked in blood beside her. Police say her boyfriend and friend orchestrated the deadly attack, fueled by jealousy and obsession. Was this a crime of manipulation or pure calculated evil? Tonight, we investigate.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Who is Romeo Angeles?
It's my son. She gave him some Mountain Dew and like a Frito Dorito. It's Frito, like the barbecue twisted chips. Okay. And he was sitting there eating them. She had them in her hands. It's like he's limp. I don't know what happened. So I threw the pizza, dropped it, and grabbed him and took off.
This story incredibly tragic. You're talking about an 18-month-old little boy. That was his dad testifying. The little boy's name is JD, dad is Jay. And the child was killed or died inside a freshman dormitory in Georgia while he was in the care, according to prosecutors, of Trinity Poague for like 35 minutes or so when Jay went to go pick up a pizza for everyone to eat. I want to show you the video because Jay described, well, there it goes. I wanted to set it up a little bit, though. As you're seeing the video, what I want you to notice is the contrast, okay? And these are 5 minutes apart. You'll see Jay rushing out with his child to get him help, and then Trinity strolling out 5 minutes later. Even though the videos are next to each other, there's 5 minutes in between. What was she doing for 5 minutes? Like, the baby's being rushed to the hospital. You're not rushing to the hospital. You're kind of just strolling. Bizarre behavior. Take a listen to Jay on the witness stand.
I took him to the emergency room.
Okay. When you got to the emergency room, what happened?
The doctors, the nurses came back and got him, and they didn't want to let me back that just then. That's when the security, he said, what's going on? Initially, I told him I didn't know he was with my girlfriend. Then when my girlfriend got there, well, when she got there, she said he fell off a chair. They put us in like a room off, like out of the lobby, but it was like a room they put us in and wait us to tell us the results or whatever.
Okay, so y'all were both in one room?
Yes, together.
What was your understanding of what they had found or what his condition was right then?
I cried school.
What was the statement that Joni made
If
when she heard the report from the doctor?
If the baby dies, somebody's getting charged with murder.
If the baby dies, somebody's going to be charged with murder. When that statement was made, did Trinity Poague's demeanor or expression appear to change in any way?
Yes.
How did it change? Like, what was her, her reaction to the statement, and then what did she do?
She got up and said, I'm finna call my parents.
Okay. So did she leave that room then?
Yes.
From that point forward, was there another time that you and Ms. Poague were in a room or whatever together?
No.
So the bottom line in this case is that she's going to point the finger at him. That Jay did it. That while she was shaving her legs, because they took a shower together, he got out of the shower, was with JD for like 5 minutes while she's shaving her legs, and then she said she came out and the baby was crying.
I think all of this whole story is horrible. Let's start off with that. But I think what could make the case go to reasonable doubt is the battle of the experts of what really occurred and how the child's skull was fractured, because everybody's story doesn't make sense. He doesn't make sense.
Well, she's got more than one story, though. That's part of the problem,
that she does. That is a problem.
And the medical testimony today was fantastic. The doctor presented as a witness.
He was great.
Really fantastically. I really enjoyed watching him testify because he was so honest and straightforward. And you're right, this is gonna be a good chunk of he said, she said, pointing the fingers at each other. I more am concerned for both of them that the jury's just gonna convict, and go, hey, doesn't matter what the super details are. Y'all killed that baby.
But where are the details coming from? The details are coming from her.
Yeah.
And she has the child for 35 minutes.
I don't think she engenders any care from the jury with her.
I really think that it's all about jury selection with this one. And one of the things is her relationship with children in general. Have you ever babysitted before? Have you ever? The reason why you were left with the child is so that the child will be in your presence. That's it. There's
She's
no
a child
reason.
herself, though. She's 18 years old.
It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. 18, you know, hey, be in the room. Why are you not in the room? Why is she coming out? These are real arguments that the jury makes. I mean, it's really on jury selection. They're going to ask questions of like, hey, if the child is there, if the child is in a dorm room, how big is a dorm room?
And why is she even in the dorm room?
Exactly.
How does a toddler get into a dorm in the first place?
I can't imagine that.
Insane to me.
But,
but the bottom line, let's take a listen to more testimony from the boyfriend, Jay, because he's talking about Trinity and some of the things that she said about little JD.
Had she ever told you that she didn't like JD? Or that she hated JD? Or made any comments like that?
She made comments, but it's like, but then like maybe a few hours, like she like, I always treat him like he's mine.
Did she make comments about whether JD liked her?
Yes.
Okay, what were those comments? What was her?
She was like, he don't like me. I said, you got to give it time.
Okay. She said that he didn't like her, and you told her that she would have to give him time.
Yes.
That's bizarre by definition, though, because if you have an 18-month, we've all been around 18-month-olds, right? And if you're giving care of your child to somebody who says that the child doesn't like you, why is the gentleman giving her any interaction with this kid? That's problematic.
That's teenagers with kids now, and we have the jealous girlfriends who take out the jealousy on the child. It's unfortunately that happens as well.
And I think if the state leans on these cherry-picked comments, because they are, there's literally kid didn't like me, I didn't like the kid. There's some really specific statements. If the jury believes that's the overall demeanor, that's one thing. I think the risk for the state focusing on those is the jury goes, hold on, you can't take one or two comments and say that this lady hates babies, was gonna harm a baby. That's a
babies,
big, just this baby. But that's a big jump.
His ex's baby.
From I'm frustrated with a baby to you would have killed him.
But I'm asking, has she ever been jealous? What was she in high school? Does she have a jealous, like, was she jealous with her ex-boyfriends? What's her jealousy like?
I just don't think he was a very good witness for the state, though.
No, I don't think he was.
But
He was being honest. I don't think he was making things up.
There's some self-serving in there big time.
Correct.
I saw one person run out with the child, and I saw another person, whatever, who didn't call 911 when the baby was in distress.
I'm not
When we come back, we're going to talk about another baby, 6 years old. Adopted, and then adopted mom pleads guilty to murder. Dad was being sentenced today. Was justice served?
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
In November of 2019, the Shores adopted 5 girls, including Natalie and her sisters.
Her birth name was given was Natalie Marie Garcia. She was a beautiful, funny, lovable, silly, caring little girl.
Christina Shore placed a 6-year-old Natalie in a reinforced cardboard box, 16.5 inches by 14 inches by 12.5 inches, and that was for moving during the night.
She was a good girl who just needed love. She was so much fun to be around, and her infectious smile could light up an entire room.
She later placed Natalie's body into her vehicle, drove her around for several hours, and then ultimately returned to the home and buried that child's remains in 2 trash bags in a shallow grave right outside of her master bedroom window.
As a sister and as a minor, I can confidently admit I know my right from wrong, and I know what happened to my sister is beyond wrong.
Now, immediately after the murder, Shore fabricated a story that Natalie had attacked a sibling and was removed from the home for psychiatric treatment. That's what she told her husband. That's what she told a number of different people. This false narrative was repeated over and over for years, and this wasn't where it stopped. Understand there's a financial component to this as well. Christina Shore exploited the foster and adoption system for financial gain. Investigators determined that Shore oversaw multiple income sources, and when we looked at the financial records here, we saw that just in one casino, that Shore had lost over $4 million in the process to one casino and online gambling. That was offset by about $1 million worth of winnings, but all of these monies went towards supporting a gambling habit.
I asked for the court to give her the max on every charge she has. And she's not so mean right now. You know?
Is there anything that you would like to say to the court before I impose your sentence today that you bargained for in this case?
like apologize to
my family, my friends, and the community I love for any heartache this has caused them. I would also like to apologize to my husband, Joseph Schroer, especially, who had absolutely no acknowledgement of this, knew nothing about this, and has been charged in this case as well. He knew nothing, ma'am.
Christina Schroer pleaded no contest and then said, listen, my husband had nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this. But he also pleaded guilty to some charges. And today was his sentencing for what happened to this little girl. He's the adoptive dad. She's the adoptive mom. She's gone for quite some time. Take a listen to what Joseph Schroer had to say.
I am completely broken. What my family has been through, what we have lost, is profound. Worst of all, by my own actions, I have dishonored my family with my incompetence and gutless, spineless behavior. I placed my trust in the wrong person, but no more. I am on a new path. I look forward firmly in my heart, and I accept full responsibility for my actions. I hope that one day I can earn back the trust lost in me for the hurt I have caused you. Please understand, you, my children, did nothing wrong. I pray you do not feel like you did. I am the one to blame, for I was not strong enough to protect you.
So the judge sentenced him just before that to 14 months in prison. Months. Let's take a listen to the judge afterwards, who is not happy with this defendant.
Mr. Schroer, this is a case involving reprehensible conduct. Mr. Schroer, your actions and inactions led to or allowed inappropriate and excessive and endangering discipline within the home, which I think you clearly recognize. Your failure to protect your children was a dereliction of your duty as a parent, and that duty was to protect them, even against their mother if necessary. And your failure to protect your children led to tragic results, and your weakness is no excuse. A punishment component to your sentence is appropriate here. Therefore, this court is empowered by Kansas law that as a condition of probation, the court can order up to 60 days in the county jail. And that's exactly what the court is going to order in this case, Mr. Schroer. And it's the intention of the court that you serve every minute of that 60 days. Now, the court does note, and we'll give credit for the 2 days previously served, but the court will order that at the conclusion of today's sentencing, that you'll be placed in custody of the sheriff's representatives, taken to jail to serve 58 consecutive days without release privileges in the county jail. And quite frankly, Mr. Schroer, that's the limit in what I can order in this case. The court wonders if perhaps a much longer incarceration sentence really would be in the interest of justice in this case.
Was justice served?
Don't make me run for DA, because that DA's office dropped some balls left, right, and center to let somebody involved knowingly with the fraud. In Georgia, I'm thinking that's a felony murder gets put in there somewhere, and you get lifed when you are part of the eventual death of a baby like that.
And it's foreseeable.
Yes.
It's foreseeable. The Medicare for it is foreseeable that a homicide will come about it. I don't understand. 14 months?
$4 million
and
in
$5 million. $5 million.
But maybe there'll be subsequent charges, question mark, about the money?
But I also think, what it is it would really bring to light how the Medicare, how they kind of dropped the ball.
Please.
DFACS is the fraudiest, most broken, disgusting organization in all 50 states, and even the people that work there will tell you that.
And I think that you're trying to also kind of offset like civil liability. So I think a plea like this is kind of helpful for.
It's just a travesty. I don't think it's okay. I don't think
it's not
okay.
good. It's not. It's totally trash.
How is he not facing far more serious charge.
I don't know why the
I deal
feds
with
didn't
prosecutors
pick it
who,
up.
if there's even a whiff of a charge, well, we just add another charge. It's just a piece of paper.
Babies, a child.
A
It has to
baby.
do with children. Normally, always when it has to do with children, there's more harsh consequences.
And the reckless abandon of that child. What do you mean for psychiatric reasons you have a baby that's gone and you never asked?
And just
but you're
poof.
cashing the checks. You are cashing the checks.
You know they
You are
had a joint
cashing-
account and they were able to go gamble together. Like, come on.
There's a lot
no
more to
way.
this story, and the idea that he is escaping similar.
So this
that's
doesn't fall
hard.
on the judge. The judge maxed him out for
Correct.
whatever
Oh, no,
charges.
judge's hands were tied.
He wasn't given a plea deal. He pleaded no contest to the charges. Your main beef is the charges he was actually facing.
Charge selection, charge drafting. All of that's where the failure was, because any county we practice
What
in
about the fact
women-
that she said, listen, he had nothing to do with this?
First of all,
Okay.
the issue
Awesome.
is why the judge does not have to take a no-low plea. He does not have to take a no contest plea.
Kansas
And it's
law,
just like,
you don't know.
It's just
here in
it's
Georgia.
so bad. In Georgia,
Yeah,
Georgia.
true.
I'm so sorry.
But
in
still.
Georgia, you can't take, like, a judge can be like, hey, I'm not gonna...
My old judges would have been like, no, you're pleading guilty.
Yeah.
There's no
You're pleading,
Alfred,
there's no-
first
yes.
offender, there's no nothing. You get
I'm so
every
used to
minute.
that.
You
But
get
the
every
bottom
minute.
line, just so everyone understands, the judge cannot upgrade the charges
No, it's
himself.
always the
A
prosecutor.
judge
Yes,
cannot
it's prosecutorial.
compel a prosecutor to upgrade charges.
The charge selection is up to the prosecuting agency. It is their sole discretion. It is their ultimate power. And if they drop the ball, they drop the ball. It's on them. That judge was obviously
You could tell.
upset.
He was super
She's doing
annoyed.
roughly 18 years, we believe.
And that's not that much.
That's not a
either.
lot either.
That's not a lot.
That's just something's
murder.
wrong here.
Baby killing, man.
There was a delay between finding the child and, and when the child
But
actually
in
died.
their backyard.
There may have been some evidentiary issues.
I just hope karma and the fact that she could look out her bedroom window and see the burial, that it'll sometime just come back at her.
And people just wake up and they're like, look, I'm a horrible monster.
Do you understand that she apologized to everyone but the child?
But the child.
But
Big
the
thank
child.
you.
Apologies.
Equal Mercy, Meg Strickler, Josh Schiffer, thank you so much. When we return, something else you need to know tonight, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, inside a tense interrogation room, chilling confessions and denials emerge as investigators piece together the murder of 21-year-old Grace Jennings. Prosecutors claim manipulation. The defense points to mental instability. Who is really responsible and why did it happen? Tonight, we investigate.
This is the Court TV Podcast.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Trial, day 3. Brian Walsh accused of murdering his wife, Anna Walsh. He admits to getting rid of her body, but said, I just went upstairs and I found her dead in the bed, so I panicked and got rid of her body. Let's take a look at some of the big testimony from day 3.
That binder that's been marked as Exhibit 79, the binder of the history that you included of the MacBook Gray device, we can all agree it contains 3,677 records as you defined them yesterday.
Yes, well, half technically because they're duplicates.
I'm going to refer you to stay on that same page 555, record 2057.
Okay.
It occurred at 6:36:22.
Yes.
And it regards body disposal options.
Yes.
No reference to murder, the word murder, correct?
That's correct.
Turning to the next page, 556, record 2059. The search query involves cool ways to be buried, correct?
That's correct.
There's no reference to murder, correct?
That's correct.
Page 557, record number 2061, and it's a query of above ground burial options, correct?
That's correct.
And there's no reference to murder.
Yes, that's correct.
The search history on all of these devices that were turned over, it was all intact, wasn't it?
Yes, the devices that were either turned over or seized during the warrant were.
And in your forensic analysis of all these devices, you did not see any evidence that anyone tried to remove, delete, or otherwise change the search history contained on these devices.
That's correct.
Sir, do you recognize this photograph?
Yes, I do.
What is this a photograph of?
This is a photograph of the Volvo I examined on January 9th.
With the Volvo that afternoon, what were you able to do as far as any testing?
The testing I performed on the Volvo was the blood screening test we use at the laboratory. Of all the areas I examined, there were 5 that tested positive for blood screening. One was the front driver's side seat controls for the front seat. There was an area on the second row passenger floor mat that tested positive. The third row passenger seat was folded down, and the back side of that screened positive for the presence of blood. And 2 additional areas on the mat that was in the trunk that was covering the trunk storage space. There was 2 mats, 1 area on each of them, test screened positive for the presence of blood. And these were areas that I did not observe any visible staining.
Can you tell us what was discovered inside of bag 1?
Inside of bag 1 was a pair of green boots, a black jacket with red-brown stains, and a bracelet inside of the pocket. There was a black purse with red-brown stains, a black wallet, and a pair of headphones inside of a case, as well as a pair of socks.
What was discovered inside of bag 2?
Inside of bag 2 were 2 white towels with red-brown stains, as well as a piece of tape with apparent gauze and red-brown stains inside of it.
What was discovered inside of bag 4?
Inside of bag 4 was a pair of gray slippers with red-brown stains, a pair of dark gray slippers with red-brown stains and trace materials, as well as apparent hairs with red-brown stains.
Sir, what is it that we're looking at here?
This is a photograph of the contents of bag number 8.
And what was produced from bag number 8?
Bag number 8 contained a hammer, a pair of wire snips, a hatchet, and a hacksaw with red-brown stains on it.
And of course, the coverage of Massachusetts versus Brian Walsh continues on Court TV. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as this case continues. The nation is watching. You're seeing some witnesses that were part of the Karen Reed trial back in court testifying like we just saw. And obviously, we'll see if the defendant chooses to testify, to tell his story about how he found his wife dead and then just panicked rather than calling 911 and decided to dismember her body and get rid of it. Bizarre story, but that's what the defense is going with. All right, folks, I need you to take a look at your television screens. You have a missing child who needs your help. This is Jasmani Menefield, just 16 years old, missing out of Paterson, New Jersey since November 25th. If you see Jasmani, please take a look at the picture. Pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. You can call 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Paterson Police Department in New Jersey, Passaic County. The number's on your screen. Let's see if we can get Jasmani to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.
There you have it. If you want to see more in-depth reporting on the latest true crime stories, you can see me every weeknight, 8 p.m. Eastern on Closing Arguments. Thank you so much for downloading. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.
This podcast is a production of Court TV. Go to CourtTV.com for more content, trials on demand, and to find out how to watch Court TV in your area.